I'm going to talk to you about your World War II project. So I'm going to give you some instructions and hopefully kind of guide you on the right path as to how I want this completed. So first thing you're going to do is go to my webpage. This is the URL right here. And you should already have it bookmarked. If not, make sure you bookmark it because we use this a lot. So first thing you'll do is just hover over U.S. history and then click on World War II project. And it'll take you to this page here. So as you can see, very first thing you can see here is that the project is due February 12th. Next thing is the instruction sheet, which I included in the classroom assignment here. So it says in groups of 2. Normally we do this, when we do this project, it's in a scrapbook. So anytime it mentions scrapbook, just ignore that. And we're doing it this year on a Google Slides presentation. Okay, so it's just, you are just doing your own. So requirements, an interesting title. Okay, so not just World War II. Okay, it just has to be an interesting title. A colorful, well-organized, neat Google Slides presentation with a few grammar and spelling errors. And then the next thing is background information. So the very first thing that's going to be due, and I'll show you here, is the Facebook page. Okay, so this is an example, and I'll show you an example here. This is a blank, what yours is going to look like blank. There's due dates here on this, so that you could see the very first thing that's going to be due is the Facebook pages that are due on the 19th. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to pick one on each side, one country from the Axis, one country from the Allies. This is not all of them, okay? This is just the main players. So what you're going to tell me in this Facebook page is you're going to tell me all about their political leadership, your friends are their allies, you put status updates, and a paragraph explaining how they got into World War II. Okay, so what you're going to do on this right here on where it says background worksheet. So let me go back over here to this. So this is my example, and I have also attached this as well. So this right here is, I did one for Canada and one for Bulgaria. So what you'll do is you'll pick any 4 of these events, and you're going to make status updates on each of those events. So the ones that happen first go on the bottom, just like Facebook works, and then what happens next goes above that, and then above that, and then above that, and then this one up here, we're pretending this is as if what Bulgaria's Facebook page would look like on September 1st, 1939, because that's when the invasion of Poland happened, and it's like the official start of World War II. Okay, so you would just react like however that country would react to that event. Okay, so for example, this one here, the Treaty of Versailles is signed, so that's the event. We have to give up land, reduce our military, and pay reparations. Current mood, sad. Okay? And then Germany says, we feel you, bro. This treaty is so unfair. Because obviously both sides were punished. Both sides thought they were unfair. But Britain says, you both deserve it and you know it. Now pay us our money and stop complaining. Okay? So they were obviously on the other side of the Treaty of Versailles, as we learned in the last unit. And so they would obviously not care too much about them complaining about the Treaty of Versailles. Okay, so that's kind of how you're going to play it, is just pick any event. You can pick any 4. They just have to be in order. Okay, so like if you don't do Treaty of Versailles, maybe you do Dachau first, that's fine. Then you pick like Hitler violates the Treaty of Versailles, just that one. If you pick 2 and 5 and like 7 and 8, that's the order it would go in. Okay, and then the very top one has to be about the invasion of Poland. Okay, because this is as if it is, like I said, September 1st, 1939. So Bulgaria's reaction to that would be the German invasion of Poland may mean war. I think we're going to try to sit this one out for a while because they tried to remain neutral. It didn't obviously happen. And they ended up joining the side of the Axis powers. Okay, so that's the status updates. And this information right here, you're going to tell me what kind of government they have and who's in charge. Okay, so that's what I have here. Their friends are the allies. One cool thing I have for you, if you go to World War II project, I have this right here. It says the World War II flag. So you don't even have to look up the flags. And this is in 1939. This is what each country's flag looked like. So you can just copy and paste them onto your own Facebook page. You don't even have to look them up. Okay, I did that part for you. And then I also have included, and normally I don't post this until later, but I'm giving you guys a chance to do this. I put the type of government and leadership there so I know that you get it right. Okay, so there's a little chart there that shows you of the countries that you can choose what kind of government they have and who's in charge. So I even did that part for you, so that should be easy. Okay. On the likes, so you have to have 3 serious, you have to have 5 likes, 3 serious, and 2 can be funny. Okay, so Bulgaria likes monarchies, tyranny, and nationalism. But they also like dancing bears, which is a thing in Bulgaria, and Victor Crumb because he was the seeker for the Bulgarian team in Harry Potter. So over here, you need to have any propaganda that they used during World War II as their ad, and then right here, you just need a paragraph explaining how they got into the war. So what were the events that caused them to get into World War II? Okay, so you need one Facebook page for each side. Okay, so I did Canada and I did Bulgaria. These are not ones that you can do. These are not countries you can choose, so you can use these as kind of an example. Okay, and then the next thing you're going to do, oops, let's go back. So then the next thing you're going to do is you are going to choose 5 events out of this right here. Okay, so any 5 events. It doesn't matter which 5, you can choose any 5. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put them on a timeline. Okay, you're going to use a description. So this would include a paragraph that kind of explains just a general summary of what happened, and then you have to include pictures. And then you have to choose 5 different types of writing styles. Okay, so you're going to do writing pieces. You can do any 5. You just can't double them up. So like if you choose, let's say, the invasion of Poland, and then you write a letter. So you can write a letter as if you're a soldier who is involved in the war or who's involved in the invasion. If you choose to do that, you can't use letter again. Okay, so let's say the next one you choose is Battle of Britain. So then maybe you write a narrative, which is just like a story, okay, from a person's perspective. And then you choose Invasion of the Soviet Union. So then you could pick like song lyrics. You could pick any 5 of these. You just can't double them up, okay, with any 5 of these. And I'll show you what that looks like over here. So in my example, so after, before this, I have the timeline of the events that we're going to do, okay? So I chose Invasion of Poland. I chose Attack on Pearl Harbor, the Holocaust, Japanese internment camps, and the Battle of Iwo Jima. Okay, so those are the ones I picked. And then I did 5 summary paragraphs. Okay, so 5 paragraphs. This is all FYI on Turnitin.com, so you cannot copy or use this information. It'll pick it up. So Invasion of Poland, Attack on Pearl Harbor, Holocaust, Japanese internment camps, and then Battle of Iwo Jima. Okay, so I just wrote paragraphs just kind of explaining in general what happened. And then after that, that's when I start doing my writing pieces. Okay, so for Invasion of Poland, I chose a journal entry. Okay, notice I put a picture with them here. I also put pictures on the timeline as well of each event. You don't have to do this on here. I just thought it would dress it up a little bit more, and I thought it looked better. But you do have to put pictures with your writing pieces. Okay, so just at least one picture that shows what it looked like. Okay, so then the next one, I did a telephone conversation about Pearl Harbor, and then I did a poem about the Holocaust. Japanese internment camps, I did a letter, and then Battle of Iwo Jima, I did an obituary. Okay, and then the next part is the propaganda pieces. So I am going to do some notes that's going to explain propaganda a little bit more. But just to summarize, you're going to make your own propaganda for one for the country, for the allies, and one for the axis that you chose for the Facebook pages. Okay, so I did Stop the Nazis with like factory, smokestacks coming out and they're stomping, it's a boot stomping on Nazi swastikas there. Okay, and then the two paragraphs you're going to have to do is first one is what are you trying to get people to do and why, and then the second part, and this is what the notes is about, is what techniques are you using and how are you using them. Okay, so then I did this one for Bulgaria, so it's a Bulgarian flag behind him, and my markers ran out and I had to compromise and make things a little lighter than they should. That's why it looks so terrible, but I did it. Keep him fighting by war bonds. Okay, and then I did the two paragraphs. So when you do these, there's two different ways you can do it. You can do it like I did, where I just found it easier just to draw it out myself and then take a picture of it with my phone and then put that on here. If you want to do where you can make it electronically, there are instructions on here. So this is what's shared with you as well. This is the blank project here. And you can change like the background and make it pretty or whatever you want on this. But on this slide here, you're going to delete this slide. There's two videos that explain how you can use Google Slides to create your own pictures. Okay. And then, but you have to create your own propaganda. I don't want to see you just go on Google and copy and paste something that like Britain used for propaganda. I don't want to see that. I want to see you come up with your own ideas, and I want to see you create it on your own. So like I said, you can do it electronically like this, or I found it easier just to do it like this. Just I got a blank piece of paper, drew it, and then use it like that. Okay, so whatever way is easier for you is fine with me. And then there's my Works Cited. So Works Cited has to be in MLA format. And one of the ways, I should have brought this up already, one of the ways to do this is to go to Google Docs. And this is exactly what I did. And hopefully you already have this as an add-on. If you don't, you'll need to add it. So if you go add-ons and then Easy Bib and then manage bibliography. And then you just, like if I used, here, let's see. There's all kinds of links. I have all kinds of links on here. Down below here. So you'll see all this when you go through this. So let's do this one. Okay, so what you'll do is, if I used worldwar2.net as a website, I just copy this and then go to EasyBib on here. It's a website. And then search. And then there it is. I select it. And then once I get all of mine in there, okay, so I keep doing that and keep doing that. It loads my bibliography. So for whatever websites I used, I'll click Add Bibliography to Doc. And then there it is. And then all I did was I didn't copy the Works Cited part, but I just copied and pasted onto my project. Okay, so if I, just like that, okay? And then you can format it, like you can go back and format it to the right font you want and things like that. So, like change it because everything's white on there, and then I don't know what, Arial. Okay, so make it blend in. Okay, so that's how that worked. All right. Okay. And then the only other thing that I need to tell you about is to go to turnitin.com, and this is the information to join the class. Okay, so what you'll do is just go to Turnitin and then copy this class ID, copy this enrollment key, and then you'll be in the class. So all of your pieces of the project need to be submitted to Turnitin by these dates that I have on this calendar here. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Okay, so the first one is on the 19th. You'll go to turnitin.com and you'll have the Facebook pages. You could just, what you can do is just the two, um, the two slides. You can copy them, put them on its own slide, its own presentation, and then submit that to turnitin.com. Okay, same thing with paragraphs. You could just put that on a Google Doc and then copy and paste that onto the slide for the final project. But just put this on a Google Doc and submit it to Turnitin. Same with the writing pieces. It could be its own Google Doc. Now, the thing with the writing pieces is it has to be 1,500 words. Okay, so that's one thing I didn't explain very well. So on the instructions page, and there's all kinds of stuff on here for you to use. There's the scoring guide right there. But it says it has to have at least 1,500 total words. Okay, so between all 5 of these writing pieces that you chose for these 5 events, has to be at least 1,500 words. And to figure out the word count, what you'll do is you go to, in your Google Doc, go to Tools and then Word Count, and it'll tell you. Okay, so right now I have 8 words, or 10 words, I guess. I got some highlighted. Okay, so tell me what's highlighted. All right, let's try it again. Word count. I have 10 words. Okay, so it'll tell you how many you got, and 1,500 words is about 2.5 pages, maybe. It's not that many words. It seems like a lot, but it's only about 300 per thing. Now, if you do like a poem and you can't come up with 300 words, that's fine. What you do is, like, maybe you come up with 200 words for the poem. Maybe you make your narrative a little longer. Okay, so maybe that's 400 words to make up. So it just has to be 1,500 per, like, for the whole thing. It doesn't have to be exactly 300 per writing piece. Okay. And then the very last thing you're going to do is you're going to do an essay, an effects essay. Okay, so the writing prompt is explain how World War II has impacted our lives today. It has to be at least 2 pages in length. So at least 2 pages means it goes into a third. Okay, whenever you go to college, that's the expectation, is it should be at least a solid paragraph or 2 into the 3rd page when they say 2 pages. 12-point Times New Roman, 1-inch margins, double space, no extra space between paragraphs, works cited page. Here's some ideas of different things that events that were caused by World War II. And then I gave you this as like an outline for you. It's basically, if you do like a real solid 5-paragraph essay, that should cover everything you have. Here's a checklist for everything that you need, okay? And then, so you'll need 2 works cited pages, one for the essay, okay? So the effects essay should have all this, and then a separate one with the project. So when you turn in the essay, you're going to submit that onto turnitin.com. Let me go to, let's see. You'll submit that to turnitin.com. Now, what you can do is you can use this essay format I have here. You can just make a copy of this and use this as the template of your essay. And I've included kind of some instructions and stuff on that as well. Okay, but you'll submit that to turnitin.com. It needs to be submitted on, let's see what date. I think it's the 11th. I think I have that going in the 11th. And then your final submission, you'll submit that with your project onto Google Classroom. Put an assignment out there a little bit later on, there it is. So the final submission, so that means okay, your project slides plus your essay, all that needs to be turned in on the 12th, okay? But all of these blue ones here where it says effects essay due, writing pieces due, all of these blue ones need to be submitted to turnitin.com. Okay, so that's already set up for you. Once you have it done, you have it done. If you turn it in early, great. If you don't, no big deal. It just has to be in by those days. Okay, so those are your checkpoints. Make sure you're on task. Okay, this we'll go over a little bit later. That's the propaganda paragraph or propaganda PowerPoint, and then that's it. And then there's useful links here for you. And then when you're done, I even included a fun video on how to become a dictator. It's very informational. All right, that's it. If you have questions, and I know you will, please email me, or you can ask me whenever we do Google Meets, or if we're still on hybrid, you can ask me in class. All right, have a good day.